David Crowder Band was a six-piece Christian rock and modern worship band from Waco, Texas. Their final album debuted at number 1 on the Billboard Christian and number 2 on the Billboard 200 charts. They disbanded in 2012, with David Crowder pursuing a solo career under the name Crowder and the rest of the band, except for Mike Hogan, forming the Digital Age name. Prior to the album Church Music, the band preferred not to be referred to as the David Crowder Band. They explained that they preferred to omit the article, and stated that they may revisit this issue if other groups named David Crowder Band begin performing, and may in fact, should that eventuality occur, insert the original in front of the band's present appellation. As of the release of Church Music, however, the band has begun referring to themselves using the article, and explained we're unregistered trademark. They've been it for a while now without incident, so we felt justified in its formal inclusion. The band's name is usually rendered with an asterisk, as David Crowder Band. In a faux documentary, while recording Church Music, Crowder joked that the asterisk meant, David Crowder is about to go insane because Jack Parker continually tries to sabotage the work of the rest of the band. Band history. The band began when Crowder realized that almost half of the students at Baylor University, a Christian university, were not attending church. Finding this very surprising, he and Chris Sy started University Baptist Church in 1995, while he was still a student. Crowder became pastor of worship at the church and led worship and continued to do so throughout the year. The church's congregation grew, as did the band's lineup. Crowder began writing songs to incorporate into the worship times at the church, and eventually the church released an independent CD, Pour Over Me, followed by All I Can Say in 1999. These CDs brought the band to a wider audience, and invitations to festivals and events followed. The band was signed to 6-Dipsh Records Sparrow Records when Louis Giglio talked to Crowder about the music and how it could be used more than just at UBC and more worldwide. Although the band toured extensively, they made it a point to be back at their home church UBC in Waco, Texas for most Sundays. Cal Lake, University Baptist Church's former pastor and also longtime friend of the band, had a strong influence on the band's music in terms of content and inspiration both during his life and after Lake's death. With their September 2005 release, A Collision All, David Crowder Band explored a new realm of musical diversity. The album houses a mix of bluegrass, folk, alternative, and worship, woven together with a touch of electronic ambience. This release landed them the number 2 spot on the iTunes Music Store and the number 39 spot on Billboard 200 the second day after its release. The same day as the release of A Collision, their song Turkish Delight was released on the music inspired by the Chronicles of Narnia compilation CD. This song, which is a reference to the magical Turkish delight in C.S. Lewis's book The Lion, the Witch and the Wardrobe, has an old-school disco feel. March 19, 2007, the band officially started recording Remedy. The band also revealed the album's website, http://www.remedyiscoming.com/, which allows fans to follow the band via live webcams, and discover more about the album. Famously controversial rock musician Ted Nugent made a special guest appearance on the album, on the song We Won't Be Quiet. Remedy was released on September 25, 2007. The day after its release, it reached number 4 on the iTunes Music Store. When Mark Waldrop joined the band as the album Remedy was released, his sidekick Rupert came with him. Rupert is a gnome. During the Remedy tour, the band had up a live web feed on Crowder's Xanga account. The feed had a chat room where fans chatted live with the band and their tourmates. It showed more than half of the tour stops live, which included their tour bus, live stage feeds of shows, places the band went, etc. Much of the time the video feed would be on Rupert at different stops. On the final night of the tour, Phil Wickham and the Myriad came on stage for a hoedown for the song I Saw the Light. The camera for the feed was on the lid of a ball cap and was wired into a laptop the band had in a backpack. This equipment was provided by Xanga. The band also used the feed for some time after their Remedy tour. July 16, 2008, the band announced it would be releasing a live album and DVD titled Remedy Club Tour, Live. The DVD was filmed in NYC and GA. Crowder's single entry from January 31, 2009, mentioned the pre-production of the band's next studio album. Also on Mike Hogan's MySpace entry from March 4, 2009, he confirmed that actual recording and production had commenced and provided directions for getting to the live webcam feed, which is in a page simply titled Church Music. The album was titled Church Music, and was released on September 22, 2009. The first single off the album was a cover of John Mark McMillan's song, How He Loves. Crowder received permission from McMillan to change the words "So heaven meets earth like a sloppy wet kiss" to "So heaven meets earth like an unforeseen kiss." The band hosted Crowder's Fantastical Church Music Conference September 30 through October 2, 2010 at Baylor University in Waco, Texas. Other presenters at the conference included Louis Giglio, Rob Bell, Israel Houghton, Hillsong London, Matt Redman, Jars of Clay, Matt Maher, Leland, David Dark, Gunga, Derek Webb, and Isaac Waddell. Mark recorded a rap song for the band titled "Brick Be Creepin' for the band's YouTube channel. February 5, 2011 the band announced the official start to recording of Give Us Rest All. On May 21, 2011, the band announced through their website that the band will end after the completion of the fall 2011 The Seven Tour, and the release of their sixth album. Later, on July 21, 2011, the band announced that a Christmas album, Oh for Joy, would be released on October 4, 2011. The band stated that they began to record Give Us Rest and subsequently Oh for Joy came out. Some of the songs in the albums Give Us Rest and Oh for Joy were recorded in green rooms and restrooms during the band's last tour. The band played their final show at the Passion 2012 conference on January 3, 2012 at the Georgia Dome. Crowder has formed a new collective called Crowder that made its first performance at the Creation East Festival in June 2012. Parker, Dodson, Bush, and Waldrop have formed a new band, called The Digital Age, and run a recording studio in Waco, Texas. David Crowder is still signed with Sparrow Records and Sixtips Records under capital CMG. He is now making music under the name Crowder. Unusual instrumentation. The band often incorporated unconventional instruments and elements into their music which were created by the band's drummer Jeremy Bush. He modified a speak and spell for the song I Can Hear the Angels Singing, a guitar-shaped controller from the Guitar Hero game to be used in Never Ending, and a robot drummer, named Steve 3PO, for use in church music, a silver box with blue lights and switches for Can You Feel It, and a MOTM modular synthesizer used by Hogan. He also manufactured a 7-square-foot MPC-style MIDI controller for the band Family Force 5. Hogan often played turntables and played electric violin with guitar effects. A Smule I'm T-Pain iPhone app is used on the Nearness. The band often recorded their albums in a barn behind Crowder's house. Members Former members David Crowder a Euro-led vocals, acoustic guitar, piano, programming, theremin, guitar, electric guitar, Jack Parker a Euro-electric guitar, background vocals, Rhodes piano, mandolin, and banjo, Mike Dodson a Euro bass guitar, keyboards, background vocals, cello, Mike Hogan a Euro violin strings, turntables, guitar, keyboard, Jeremy B. Wack Bush, drums, percussion, bells, programming, Mark Waldrop a Euro electric guitar, mandolin, background vocals, Jason Soley a Euro electric guitar, background vocals and mandolin, Taylor Johnson a Euro electric guitar, mandolin, background vocals. Discography: Pour Over Me, All I Can Say, Can You Hear Us? Illuminate US. Number 84, A Collision US. Number 39, Remedy US. Number 22, Remedy Club Tour Euro Live US. Number 88, Church Music US. Number 11, Give Us Rest US. Number 2, All This for a King, The Essential Collection. Awards: GMA Dove Awards, Grammy Awards. David Crowder Band is also featured in other compilation albums that were either nominated or won Dove Awards for Special Event Album of the Year, 2006 Special Event Album of the Year, Music Inspired by the Chronicles of Narnia. 2007 Special Event Album of the Year, Passion, Everything Glorious. 2009 Special Event Album of the Year, Passion, God of the City. Others The band was named MSN's Artist of the Month for July 2006, and later won Artist of the Year for 2006. Books. David Crowder has authored 2 books. David Crowder, Praise Habit, Finding God in Sunsets and Sushi, Nut Press, 2005. David Crowder with Mike Hogan, Everybody Wants to Go to Heaven, But Nobody Wants to Die or, Relevant Books, 2006. References. External links, Christian Music Today interview, 11/07, Christian Music Today interview, 04/06, Christian Music Today interview, 10/02, Home FM radio interview with David Crowder by Adam and Ben on Mornings at Home, Gospel Music Channel interview with David Crowder by Alicia Carson.